this being your third season, it seems like you've been a lot more assertive or spicy this year.
Spicy?
I don't know, spicy. Smooth. I mean, I feel like for me, it's just my approach. It's just coming in and just trying to be dominant in anything the team needs. And so if that gives off spicy, which I really don't think it does, I feel like I'm like kind of quiet.
Spicy?
No, I just know it's spicy. But yeah, I feel like that's just been my mindset, is just coming in and just being the player that I need to be for us. Whatever that looks like, it looks like.
What do a locker room mantra, a blowout win, and a playoff berth have in common? For the Indiana Fever, everything. Their 94-65 victory over the Washington Mystics wasn't just a win. It was survival. It was defiance. And right in the middle of it all, Aliyah Boston dropped a line that has her teammates buzzing and fans demanding to hear more. What exactly did she say, and why is that mindset fueling Indiana into the playoffs without Caitlin Clark and 4 other injured players? Stick around, because this story is bigger than basketball. If you're fired up for the playoffs, comment Fever Playoffs. Let's go.
Playoffs! Dub!
That's how we clinch, baby!
We can't! W. Playoffs! Bow! Yeah! Playoffs, baby!
Mitchell in transition. Lays that up and in for our first bucket of the game. Sims off the cross again into the paint, lays it up and in.
How can a team lose half its rotation and still claw its way into the postseason? That's the Indiana Fever's story this year. Their roster didn't just take hits, it was gutted. Caitlin Clark, the sophomore phenom expected to lead a new era, tore her groin after only 13 games. Sophie Cunningham? Knee injury. Chloe BBY? Knee injury. Sydney Colson? Out. Ari McDonald? Foot injury. 5 major contributors, gone. For most teams, that's the end of the line. For Indiana, it became their test.
When you think back to the beginning of the season, if someone were to tell you, like, this is where you could be, and this is your team, like, at the end of the season, like, genuinely, what do you think the reaction would be?
Probably no stinking way. I don't think, thinking back to the beginning of the season, that anyone would have ever foreseen it going like this.
Clark's loss stung the most. She was averaging 16-plus points and setting the kind of playmaking tone that had Fever fans believing the postseason wasn't just possible, it was expected. When news broke she was out for the season, the shock rippled through Indiana and across the basketball world. Fans who packed Gainbridge Fieldhouse wondered how this team could survive without their star. Analysts lined up to declare the Fever's playoff dreams dead.
And if things looked like it got harder, for us it was about sticking together, and I think through everything you're able to see that, us play with joy, us play together regardless of who's on that floor.
And it wasn't just Clark. Indiana's roster turned into a carousel of hardship signings. 18 different players wore a Fever jersey this season. Odyssey Sims flew in. Shaw Petty stepped up. Aerial Powers carved out a role. It looked less like a stable roster and more like a moving train people were jumping onto. This wasn't strategy. It was survival. And survival doesn't usually end with a playoff berth.
Whatever reason, things happen, and you've got to continue to put your best foot forward. You got to continue to stay the course. This group has been forced to grow strong roots, and teams can go one of two ways when those things happen. You either use it to pull you together and it's motivation to continue to get better and do it for one another and do it for your teammates that have been lost to injury, or it pulls some teams apart.
That's where head coach Stephanie White made the difference. Even with her roster wiped out, she refused to panic. She simplified the system, streamlined rotations, and built a foundation her players could lean on. White admitted the staff had to think outside the box, but instead of hiding the adversity, she leaned into it, reminding her group how tough they were physically and mentally. The players followed.
When I look at this group, I'm just so incredibly thankful for the type of people that we have in this locker room, for the way that they have been able to continue to stay the course and bounce back and stay together, to pull for one another, to really be flexible enough to make space for different types of teams that we've had throughout the course of the year, and to continue to put ourselves in position.
By August, the narrative had flipped. Doubts gave way to resilience. What looked like the downfall of Indiana became its hidden weapon. No superstar? No problem. Every woman on the roster learned to carry the weight. That next woman up mantra, born out of necessity, became their identity. Against Washington, that toughness finally erupted into dominance.
Inside Howard, off the window, the bucket, and the foul. Petty three, knocks it down again. Lost the handle, gets it back, gets right to the hoop, and she drops it home.
Fever 94, Mystics 65. Indiana's in. And now you know, despite all the adversity, this incredibly resilient Fever team is going back to the playoffs in 2025.
How do you turn heartbreak into a 29-point demolition? Indiana answered on the road against the Mystics. Their win didn't just clinch a playoff spot, it sent a message to the league. The game didn't start like a blowout. Washington came out sharp, trading buckets, keeping the Fever on edge. Without Clark, Cunningham, McDonald, BBY, and Colson, the question was real: could Indiana hold its ground, or would the night slip away?
And more than anything, y'all, big picture-wise, this group, there would have been so many teams that would have folded with all we've been through. And we just kept getting better, and we kept getting tougher, and we kept becoming more resilient, and we kept figuring things out, right? Like, we've had like 7 new teams throughout the course of this season. and no matter what, we've been flexible, we've been accountable, we've put each other in positions to be successful, and we've continued to put one foot forward and stayed the course.
By halftime it was close. But in the third quarter, Indiana flipped the switch. They smothered Washington, holding them to just 9 points in the frame. Passing lanes clogged, every matchup contested. The Fever suddenly looked hungrier, sharper, unstoppable. The lead ballooned past 20, then 25, peaking at 33.
You just don't know what she's going to do. I mean, she's so crafty with her shot decisions. Howard right to the hoop, high out the window. She's slicing through that paint. Angela back tapped it. It ends up with aerial powers. Inside Howard, off the window, the bucket, and the foul by the rookie all-star Sonia Citron. Howard quickly back to the late line.
The box score told part of the story, but the individual plays told the rest. Natasha Howard poured in 17 points, dominating near the rim. Lexi Hull hustled all over the court, diving for loose balls, sparking fast.
Jolson had to stay home because she had an occupied side. In terms of a cutter in her area, she stayed. Petty three, knocks it down again with it. She's just such a solid stabilizer for Washington. Howard right to the hoop, lays it up and in. Fourth foul on Austin. Boston down low. Double tongue, drops off to Howard, who lays it up and in.
Petty drilled all 3 of her threes, finishing with 13 points. Even on an off shooting night, Kelsey Mitchell chipped in 10, steadying the backcourt. By the final buzzer, 5 Fever players hit double figures. That balance is rare and exactly what the situation demanded. The turnover battle sealed it. Washington coughed it up 22 times. Indiana turned those into 27 points. The Fever only gave it away 6 times all night. That wasn't just outscoring the Mystics. That was draining their hope.
Austin got that rebound. Here's Powers. Lost the handle, gets it back, gets right to the hoop. And she drops it home. 8 on the shot clock here for Citron. So free screen that. And then they got the switch they want. Oh, couldn't get it in. Tough turnover there for Washington. The loose ball collected by Dolson. Citron brings it over half. Powers in the passing lane. No one to beat. Lays it up and in. See if they can get back to that. and connect plays with stat possessions with that level of effectiveness.
So, who leads this team now that Clark is stuck on the sidelines? The answer is clear: Aliyah Boston. Her stat line against Washington, 12 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, plus 29 plus minus, was strong, but her words afterward hit even harder.
Pushing plays. Here's Paul, guarded by Citron. Hanging, fading, kicks off the glass. My goodness, he better serve. Maybe 4 out, 1 in, and have him take turns with it. Oh, clips and 3.
Picture the locker room. Sweat, laughter, emotion, relief. Clark, Cunningham, McDonald, BBY, and Colson all absent. But
Sanders also back for the Fever. Here's Petty in the corner. He knocks it down. Jay Petty also spent.
Boston gathers the team and says, never doubt yourself and what you're capable of. It wasn't just talk. You could see it on the floor, Hull diving, Petty lighting it up, Powers bringing instant fire. That mantra became their fuel. Fans echoed it across social media. Suddenly, it wasn't just Boston's line. It was a rallying cry.
Alicia Clark and Jade Seamless with the philosophy and culture and playing with joy as being the top tier point of emphasis there. Mitchell in transition lays that up and in for our first bucket of the game.
Boston isn't just producing, she's leading. She broke the Fever's franchise record with her 17th double-double of the season, now holding 41 in just 2 years. She's the backbone, the steady pulse keeping this team alive. When asked about the locker room mood, she laughed about making a TikTok, then quickly reminded everyone, the job isn't finished. That rare mix of joy and focus showed exactly why she's the anchor.
Proud of you guys. I mean, this was, we owned them in the second half. Hell yeah! 27 total points we had them to in the second half. 27 points off of turnovers? Hell yeah! And we took care of it, only 7 turnovers for us. A complete team effort, y'all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in double figures. I mean, it was just all really good stuff. Really good stuff.
If Clark is the spark, Boston is the foundation. She's shaping a culture built on toughness, resilience, and belief. Indiana's first back-to-back playoff appearances since 2016 prove it. They'll face Atlanta, Las Vegas, or Phoenix in round 1. Tough matchups, best of 3, most games on the road. But this roster has already beaten those teams short-handed. And for the first time in nearly a decade, playoff basketball is returning to Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Yeah, just through the adversity that you guys went through this season, especially maybe in August when people were going down left and right, did you guys feel like this was always possible to make the playoffs? Did you ever have moments of concern or doubt, and what allowed you guys to just keep, the eyes on the prize more or less? Yeah, I think, just being someone in this locker room, you never doubt yourself and what you're capable of, no matter what happens. I think the entire staff, up to the head, just made great decisions when people went down on who to bring in, the type of people to bring in, and that was really our mindset. We never doubted ourselves. We never doubted that we could be in the playoffs. Even if things looked like it got harder, for us it was about sticking together, and I think through everything you're able to see that, us play with joy, us play together regardless of who's on that floor.
Likes to get into their offense. You see Jade Melvin getting that defensive assignment on Mitchell. She picked her up pretty much 3/4 court. Boston baseline jumper falls. That's the advantage with Mitchell guarding her. 11-0 run right now for Washington. Boston got that baseline, misses, gets her own, and finish.
How would you describe the locker room after the game today, just being able to sell? Well, we didn't make a TikTok, so I think everyone is just super excited. Like you said, it hasn't been a perfect road. And so for us, it's enjoying the little moments while at the same time understanding we have another game on Tuesday and then we have to prepare for the playoffs. But I think just being in the moment and being where our feet are and kind of just enjoying this one.
Got a piece of glass for the finish there. Boston seal inside, comes right back for the finish.
Ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. Okay, we got another one on Tuesday, and in the playoffs, ain't nobody gonna want to see us. Nobody. No one is gonna want to see us. That's right. Nobody. I'm not gonna sing it, but yes. Okay. So we continue to focus on competing to the standard, preparing to the standard. All right, right, and then we scare the hell out of this league. Hell yeah. Come on. Here we go. Hell yeah. 3, 1, 2, 3. Hell yeah.
Proud. You know, I feel proud of these women and what they've been able to continue to do. I feel proud that we continue to raise the standard for ourselves and for one another. But I'm also, you know, I look at this group and the roots that have been grown throughout the course of this season, and thinking about, you know, not just where we are now and the opportunity that we have in the playoffs, but where we're going to be in the
18 different players wore a Fever jersey this season. That revolving door forged a battle-tested group. Hull and Petty grew into roles nobody expected. Howard and Powers brought veteran grit. Mitchell and Boston now own playoff experience as top options, not sidekicks. Clark's absence forced growth, and when she returns, she'll walk into a locker room already hardened with championship DNA. The story flipped. What looked like disaster became a foundation. Indiana finished with a winning record and a playoff berth for the first time since 2015. They turned pain into progress, survival into identity. And it begs the question, if this is what Indiana can do with half a roster, what happens when they're whole again? If you're fired up for the playoffs, drop a Fever Playoffs in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment.